So I told you yesterday that Papua New Guinea is rich with mineral resources. We are a port of global industries. So we see in the southern end, the Australians are extracting gas, petroleum. We have ExxonMobil over there. We have China and Japanese people buying the product from other parts of Papua New Guinea. All over Papua New Guinea, we have huge palm oil development. We have huge logging activities happening. But I live and work in a small town. It's a province of about 300,000 people. And the town itself is about 60,000 people. In this province alone, I have to deal with the miners, the loggers, the palm oil developers, the fishermen. Now, where are they coming from? Malaysia dominated the logging industry for a long time. Then, some 15 years ago, the Filipinos sailed in, and now we got fishing factories in Papua New Guinea. And Subic Bay, Walden Bello was talking about Subic Bay, is very interesting to me because now those people who are fighting against these fishing projects, where do they go? They go to Subic Bay to see the world-class projects over there that they are selling to Papua New Guinea. But that project is being expanded, opened, so that there are other interests in that project as well. Then we have also in Medang, and I spoke about the legal case yesterday, the Chinese government doing mining in Medang. That case taught me a lot of lessons. And one of those lessons is not to trust the court system anymore. So I don't go to courts anymore. I'd rather carry a box of match around with me. But I want to talk about other activities that we're doing on the ground. And I told you about protests. We're doing a lot of protests, street protests on the ground, because like I said, the legal system is not for the little people like me and the 85% or 90% of the Papua New Guineans. Now we have people from all over the world coming to Papua New Guinea. And my friends from the Sacred Lands, I think Toby McLeod is sitting somewhere in the audience here. Good. Toby had an experience. He came to Papua New Guinea with his film crew to document our sacred sites being taken down by huge mining and logging companies. Toby ended up in a container somewhere in the mining camp. I sent him to take some pictures there. The company officials came in, took Toby and the group and locked them up in the container. I am the Papua New Guinean host. How do I feel about this? We went up for another shoot up in the mountains where the production was going to happen. We had to be forced to leave the village very quickly. These are the experiences of developers coming to Papua New Guinea and telling us, or making us not to tell about their practices in the country. Now the Romanichal case I was talking about, the DSTP case, that's the same case, the Romanichal case, would be the second largest environmental case that Papua New Guinean landowners have taken to court. The first one was Seabed Mining, which was originally by the BHP Billiton. They would not take any responsibility of the environmental damages they've done to our biggest river in the country. They've passed the blame back to the PNG government. I want to take us to Bougainville. Now, some of you know about Bougainville. Bougainville is our biggest example, but our politicians don't want to learn about Bougainville. The local landowner, Sam Kauna, walked out of a meeting when the New Zealanders who were doing the study on behalf of Rio Tinto told Sam Kauna and his people, your river isn't polluted, it isn't poisoned, it's good river. Sam stormed out of that meeting and went straight to the bush, and for the next 10 years, Bougainvillians were living in the bush, and 16,000 of them lost their lives. It costed money for Rio Tinto, but a lot of blood for Papua New Guineans. Now they died at the hands of our own military, our PNG military. So these are lessons. In the Romanichal is very close because I live in the town and it's just hours away from where I live. So we keep a keen eye on Romanichal. And a lot of young people come to me and say, if this doesn't work for us, we are talking a Bougainville solution here. Now it is my wish that this doesn't happen in Madang again. But these are talks on the ground. Now some of you have been following Papua New Guinea. In our retail industry, we have 99% of those people who are running the retail industry at the moment are Chinese. Also on the side, we have more than 300 Australian NGOs operating in the country. Now for a small group like Bismarck Ramu Group, there are only 12 of us. How do you try to put up resistance, or you try to tell the developer and your government that what is happening must not be happening? We have a beautiful constitution. Our 5 principles speak of equality and participation. It speaks of a sovereign nation. It speaks of environmental protection. And it speaks of holding our Papua New Guinean ways. Now, I told you yesterday, Papua New Guinea is one of the oldest cultures, 50,000 years old. We were some of the people who came up with the first garden in the world. What is trade? We're talking about trade here. Papua New Guineans were trading some 3,000 years ago. But we have made trade a priority. And so we are telling our government, go back to the Constitution, the 5 principles that give us the shining star, that this is the path to take for our development. But no, we had to ban some of our laws so that we can get a lot of labor coming in. Those miners who come in, they'd rather bring in their own labor. Those loggers, they bring in their own labor. And the Papua New Guinean young people, well, 100 can go to Cairns and harvest pumpkins. What is this? I am insulted. These are farmers, Papua New Guinean farmers. We were the first gardeners. Now we go to Cairns to harvest pumpkins. So this is my struggle. So when I hear the last panel talking about China, Japan, US, I am sitting there and thinking, what is going on? Because I am worried about the practices in those sectors, in those industries. Now I have to shift and try to understand China. China's coming down to the Pacific is through Papua New Guinea. We have opened the door for China's invasion in the Pacific. Some years back, we were dealing with immigrants coming in without proper immigrant documents. They were coming to work for the company. And our immigration officers were going around Madang chasing people, and there were truckloads of people moving up and down across Madang. What is going on? So when we talk about corruption, I asked, yes, Papua New Guineans are corrupt. And we put a finger on our government officials, we put a finger on our bureaucrats, but we don't point the fingers at those companies that come in and corrupt our officials. They get away with things. So we have massive, massive social problems. You want to come to PNG, you're Americans, you want to come to PNG, you have to go through all these social checks before you come to PNG because we are not the safest place, not the best place to live in. But isn't that the best ingredients for development to happen? A confused nation, a fighting nation, we fight among ourselves, let those savages fight, we go and dig up the gold, we go and take the trees. That is our development in Papua New Guinea. So I spent my life trying to do a lot of things, and like I said, 12 people cannot. The civil society sector is shrinking. Why the Australian NGOs are important to us is that they simmer things down. Because we try to raise issues, they say, if you're accessing Australian aid, you don't talk about Australians. So the Bismarck Group has decided, no, we are not accessing Australian money. They've come to us, we said, no, we are not accessing your money. European Union, if you're good to us, if you're going to let us do our work here the way we want to do our work, yes, we will consider your money, but otherwise the churches are good for us at the moment. But of course we fight the churches. We tell the churches, you're making the way easy for these people to come in, and they are abusing your followers. So we sit here and we talk about problems. Yeah, I don't want to be talking about problems. I come from the richest country in the Pacific. I want to tell you that I have the best health services in my country. I have the best education services in my country. Transport system is good. But those of you who've come to Medang and have worked with me, you know it's a one-way street into the peninsula and out again on rough road. That's life in Papua New Guinea. Where is all the money going to? The wealth generated from all these resources, where are they going to? We have such a big unemployment rate, and we can only send 100 overseas to harvest pumpkins. We cannot employ all our Papua New Guineans. And so, we have several campaigns running. Land grabbing is our biggest fear because when I came here in 2009, I spent the Christmas 6 weeks in a place called Sacramento. I don't know where it is. But the first night I came here, I walked around the Union Square, and what I saw here, I am sorry to say, Americans, this is not the American dream I wanted to see. So I have gone back and worked with my Papua New Guineans to say, keep your land, because in the 2008 financial crisis, we didn't feel a thing. We didn't feel the crisis that you were feeling here because we had our land. We have our land and we're eating from the land. And yesterday, or the other day, I said, when cash doesn't matter anymore. This is an economy that's running mostly without cash. This is Papua New Guinea. So we now have, through our government system, a special scheme called the Special Agriculture Business List. Through that scheme, our government has helped to facilitate the loss of 5.2 million hectares. We forced our government to commission an inquiry. That inquiry is still pending a report. The Prime Minister wants to pull back on that inquiry. We are saying to the government, we sent our people on radio and people just call in and demand that report be released. We want the recommendations, we want the land returned to the people. 99-year lease, we have a short lifespan, Papua New Guineans. We cannot allow 99-year leases. And to finish, I want to talk about the seabed mining, which is the new thing in the Pacific. Seabed mining, our newest people to look at, or enemies, are the Canadians. They're trying to test the technology in our sea. So they're telling us, oh, we're just going to sweep the sea floor, we're not going to dig. That's very nice. Whatever it is, you have so many mines. If some of you are interested, you look up Papua New Guinea, it's all mapped out, and there's so many activities for various mining activities. We're saying you got enough on ground, leave the sea alone, leave the sea alone. So with Act Now and PAN, we're running a campaign. And I'd like to invite you to, the website is actnow, actnowpng.org. And the petition is online. You can sign on that online petition. But just to tell you a little bit that last year we did a really big campaign. Maureen and the team went up to the Cook Islands and lobbied the Pacific Island Forum up there. I ran the national campaign and we lobbied. Nationally, we got 24,000 signatures, which helped us to petition the mining minister and the minister who's working with us, the people. And immediately the day after, all the shareholders pulled out, and that was good for us. Nautilus packed up and came back to Canada. But just as I was leaving, they're back. They're back, and Maureen and I have a lot of work to do, and I'm glad my brother Ralph is here. But I would like to kindly ask all of you if you can go to the website and sign the petition. Thank you.